Season 7 of ABB Formula E is finally here, with this weekend being the start of the first ever Formula E World Championship. 2 races, both in Saudi Arabia, Diriyah, both under the floodlights for the first time in Formula E history. Now, normally on the channel, we like to do race previews, season predictions, and sadly over the winter, I haven't really had time to do that for Formula E. But just know, going forward for the next race, the Rome E-Prix, there will be previews, there will be race reviews, we should have the whole shebang back in full swing. But things at racing reviews at the moment have been a little bit hectic, I do apologise. But we've got 2 races to review today, with a couple of guests swinging by along the way. Should be a lot of fun. So let's take a look at your race results for the first race of this year's Formula E World Championship. And taking his first pole position, his first race win, and now leading the driver's standings, Nico Vries for Mercedes EQ put on a masterful performance in the first race of the season, controlling race from start to finish. Not only did he claim that pole position, also fastest in both practice sessions, Nico Vries laying down the gauntlet early on in Season 7. Could he be a bit of an outside contender for the World Championship? Well, based on this weekend alone, Nick is doing a pretty great job of putting his name in contention. Enno Mortara, crikey, what a race that man had. Second at the checkered flag, just in front of Jaguar's Mitch Evans. But Mortara, one of the overtakes of Formula E history, one of the best races of his Formula E career, a cracking job, a 1-2 for Mercedes powertrains. Is that a theme we'll see throughout the season? Maybe, maybe not, as we'll see in a moment's time with the race 2 results. Evans was P3 in a race-long battle with Rene Rast, who had a really good race in P4, and I feel was really unlucky with safety car timing just to finish outside the podium. But this man, who starts his first full year of Formula E this year, I've got a really good feeling about him. Rast seems to be adapting so well to Formula E conditions, so looking forward to seeing what he can do the rest of this season. Pascal Wehrlein, P5 at the checkered flag, but after an incredible qualifying, second on the grid behind Nico Vries, energy management just wasn't quite there for the German. Slipped back behind Rene Rast, who it was, at P2 in the time. The double overtake from Mortara and Mitch Evans that we mentioned a moment ago didn't help things. Managed to stay in front of Ollie Rowland, who finished P6. A great fight back through the field again from the Nissan driver, something him and Lucas di Grassi, who finished in 9th, are really starting to get the grips of this year already, but also last year, something that Rowland and di Grassi did so well was working their way back through the field. Alexander Sims, his brand new team in the form of Mahindra, wasn't quite the victory he got for BMW last year, but points on debut in a super competitive field, I think that's a job well done, especially considering some of the other guys around him. Stoffel van Dorn, of course, won the previous race, the final round of Season 6, the final round in Berlin, but back-to-back Mercedes victories. Sims in front of one of them, he can be happy with that. Stoffel himself, a great fight through the field. Likewise with Lucas di Grassi, both of them out in Group 1, was never really going to play to their advantage all weekend. And actually a lot of the big hitters from last year, some of them haven't scored points all weekend. But with the qualifying format as it is, expect that to change next time out in Rome, with a few big names in Group 4 next time out. And our final driver to score points in Race 1, Oliver Turvey. What a feel-good story for the Neo team. Didn't pick up a single point all season long last year. Mega job from the team, and things would only get better in Race 2. More on that in a moment's time. Just missing out on points, Antonio Felix da Costa in that Group 1 qualifying position. It was always going to be an uphill battle for our reigning world champ, but not a bad drive getting through to 11. Likewise with debutant Jake Dennis for BMW, at least he finished the race, unlike his teammate. Sebastian Buemi was P13, it was Norman Nato, another debutant, down in P14. Jean-Eric Verne, a real quiet race in the first race of the season. We saw this last year though, with both Diestetitors failing to score any real big points over the opening weekend. The opening 2 races, They went on to win the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships, so there's still time. It's no big worries if you haven't scored points just yet. But it's cause for concern? Is it there with Techeetah? I don't think so. Using last year's powertrain, that's going to change next time out once we get to Rome. Expect them to be near the front. Both cars, Da Costa and Jean-Eric Vergne. Andre Lotterer, P16, a quiet day from the German driver. Also quiet days from both Virgin cars, 17th and 19th. Nick Cassidy making his debut in the series. Tom Blomqvist returns in P18. Sete Camara and Nico Muller had a torrid day. Camara in the wall in qualifying, causing Cassidy and Muller to lose their lap times, start all the way at the back of the field. Likewise with Tom Blomqvist, and never really recovered from there. Max Günther DNF'd after making contact with the wall halfway through the E-Prix, but the big talking point from race 1, Sam Bird and Alex Lynn making contact down towards the first corner. Lynn just squeezing Bird that little bit too much, nowhere to go. Contact between the two of them, both of them out of the E-Prix. And just before we move on to race number 2, let's just get a few of the thoughts from our drivers from race number 1 of season 7.
Yes, so unfortunately no points for me today. I think I crossed the line on 13th place and just lost 2 positions in the last corner due to no energy. I ran out of energy in exiting the last corner. I think it was an okay race. It's hard to come back when you start at the back in qualifying. So tomorrow, the good news is that I will be in Group 3. So hopefully I can do a good job and qualify myself better, because everyone is very close to each other, so it's difficult to come back. But still, though, I think the pace in the race was not too bad. So we'll see tomorrow where we can end up and hopefully score a few points.
First Formula E race, obviously not starting from the ideal spot, so it makes it hard around here. Try to learn what I could, obviously with an eye forward to tomorrow, getting the laps under my belt. We'll debrief with the team now and keep the gloves up and come out fighting tomorrow. Cheers.
Yeah, so just finished the race in Riyadh. I think in general the race was pretty good, moving from 10th up to 6th. I think being in Q1 and managing to finish 6th is a good result. We scored some points, which is a positive. Unfortunately, on the other side, tomorrow is going to be Q1 again, so hopefully we can score some good points again and try and improve a little bit tonight, overnight, and come back stronger in the morning.
A massive thank you to Nissan and Virgin for sending those clips over. Hoping to get a few more of the drivers' thoughts to you guys over the course of this year, so keep your eyes peeled for the remainder of Season 7. Again, apologies for content being a little lacking on the channel over this weekend, but lots to look forward to over the course of this year. But race number 2, that's where things kicked into gear. That's when the classic Formula E we know and love returned. This time it was a man who struggled on Friday that really came to the forefront on Saturday, with Robin Vries taking his first pole position in Formula E history. But come race day, it was the man who has won a race in every single season that came to the front. The man who always does the late braking, always is up for the fight. And at his new team, Sam Bird claimed his first victory for Jaguar, his first of Season 7. Not a dominant performance like we saw in Race 1, and actually it was a super technical fight, not only with Robin Vries, but also Antonio Felix da Costa and Jean-Eric Vergne, who were brilliantly working their way through the pack. Vergne ultimately finishing on the podium. But so many penalties post-race caused the order to become absolutely carnage. So I'll quickly run through it for you guys, because what we saw on TV at the end of yesterday evening certainly isn't the case now. So Bird has still won the E-Prix with Vries P2. With Vergne moving down out of the points, it was Da Costa, our reigning world champion, that moves to his first podium of Season 7. It was then a brilliant, fantastic result for the Dragon team. 4th and 5th, Sete Camara, who started on the front row of the grid in his first full season of Formula E. already drove a brilliant race, sticking with that front group, not getting eaten up by the pack like other drivers were that started a little bit higher up. Coming away with 5th was great, getting promoted to 4th, even better. Nico Muller, another driver, able to take advantage, getting his biggest ever and best ever result in Formula E. And for 2 races in a row, Mr. Consistent Oliver Turvey scoring a 6th place for Neo. They must be on cloud 9 with this opening weekend of the year. Lovely stuff to see that team doing well. Ollie Rowland, who we just heard from a moment ago, once again fighting his way through the field, finding himself in the points, finding himself right next to that man, Lucas Di Grassi. Those two already this year, just like they were last year, seem inseparable. Got a good feeling about both of them this year. Think it could be a difficult season, especially if they keep getting 7th and 8th place finishes. Qualifying won't really be their friend. But that consistency that both of them have proved to have, especially Di Grassi since season 1, is going to be even more important than ever. Keep an eye out for Rowland and Di Grassi. Race winner from race 1 to Vries didn't finish in the points, but thanks to carnage penalties at the end of the race, finishes P9 with Pascal Wehrlein rounding out the points. Lotterer was P11. Vern, who finished on the podium, that was taken away after the post-race incident reports, finishes P12. And your final 12 runners, Van Dorn, Cassidy, Sims, Nato, Rast and Tom Blomqvist, your final finishers, your 6 DNFs, Buemi Gunter, Evans, Lynn, Jake Dennis and Eduardo Mortara. Yesterday's race, however, will be remembered for the not so great reasons, with Eduardo Mortara losing control of his Venturi at the end of practice 2, going straight on during the practice start phase at the end of the session. Thankfully, Eduardo was okay. That car had no intention of stopping, and Formula E reacted super quickly to postpone both Mercedes and the remaining Venturi of Nato from taking part in qualifying. Harsh punishment for sure, but with safety concerns like that, certainly the right thing to do. We also saw a red flag late on in the race, contact between Max Gunter and Sebastian Buemi. Seconds later, an even bigger incident involving Mitch Evans and Mahindra's Alex Lynn. Alex was taken to hospital straight away for immediate checks. The team have since come out and said all is good, all is okay. Alex is clear to race next time out in Rome. But that was a big one. Certainly put a somber mood on what, apart from that, was a great weekend of racing. Formula E never fails to disappoint, and I, for one, have caught the Formula E fever. But just before I go too crazy, let's take a quick look at your drivers and team standings. It was the man that took the first win of Season 7, Nick de Vries, who leads the standings on 32 points, with Sam Bird, race winner of Race 2 in P2. Robin Fry's pole position and second place in our second race is P3, with second place in the first race, Eduardo Mortara, P4. Reigning champ Acosta is 5th, Jaguars Evans 6th, Roland Rast, Sete Camera and Pascal Wehrlein round out your top 10. Nico Muller is 11th, Oliver Turvey P12. Sims, Di Grassi, Lotterer round out your points finishers, with Jean-Eric Verne, Jake Dennis, Buemi, Norman Nato, Cassidy Blomqvist, Max Gunter and Alex Lynn all pointless so far in Season 7. That is it from me. Next time out, we are in Rome next week. Formula 1 returns with more car launches, and the week after that, winter testing. It's back. Crikey. It's all kicking off. Thank you all very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Next time out for Rome, Formula E content will be back like it always is. Thank you so much, guys, for your patience. Thank you all very much for watching. If you are new and you've made it this far, that is awesome. Thank you for watching this subpar content. Usually it's much better, but at the moment priorities a little bit shifted, and I'll leave that there. Thanks guys, and I hope to see you all in the next one.